says, squeak, squeak. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Squeaky Ball Kiri. Hi, good morning, girl. She's standing right here. Too bad we don't have a dog as face cam, but you so seldom come over here. And disembodied voice Justin, who is actually with us, and I have to put him in my ear so I can hear him. Good girl. Get it. Get the ball. She's almost killed this one. Squeak. There we go. Hey, Coobs, thanks for the Prime resub. Fantastic. There we go. Get rid of that. I have double chat. Working 5 hours away from home. Sadness, Ash. Sadness. Fuzzy socks rock. Oh, it is totally a fuzzy socks. Yeah, since, since her colors are turning out so interesting, I decided I wanted to work on her today, on Angelica. On Ms. Fairweather. My camera is once again off center, or I'm just off center. It's probably just me. And definitely is a little bit off center. Let's see here. I want to go a little bit higher. We can see the pretty painting behind me. There we go. That's a little bit better. I need to adjust every once in a while. Trying to keep good posture today, so that puts my head up higher than when I slouch, My back has been kind of shot lately. Sadly. I'm sure a lot of you have back achies and have some sympathy for me. So yeah, good girl, squeaky girl. Yeah, Kiri's happy. Kiri's happy. We're almost at the end of the meds, the course of medication. So let's hope that everything evens out. And she totally needs a bath. Like, dog smells like dog, if you know what I mean. So yeah, here we are. We're back on Ms. Fairweather. Let me get down onto Domini. Hey, Kaji. 8-year-old daughter. You'll have to help her with the Learn to Paint kit, but the techniques are certainly doable by an 8-year-old. I started painting when I was 9, Kaji, and I wish I would have had that kit. It's a very precise. Rhonda writes really, really precise Learn to Paint kits, so it'll tell you exactly how many drops of water to paint and stuff like that. So yeah, you'll probably have to help her a little bit, but it'll be good for building brush control and for learning very basic techniques. So yeah, I think so. I mean, starting at 8 and 9, like, that's the earliest. Like, I think I've seen people try to start their kids at like 5, but the kids just, slop on the paint and walk away. Whereas I've seen like kids that are 8, 9, 10, or 11, depending on their attention span. Sometimes they'll be very good. Like they'll get like the brush control down. They'll start really painting well. I mean, I coached an 11-year-old once. That was the youngest person I've ever coached, and he really wanted to win a Golden Demon in the Youngbloods category. And I think the next year I saw him at Chicago, and he actually did win like a Silver Demon in the Youngbloods. His like parents were so ecstatic they came to thank me when we were there. So yeah, so kids can definitely learn, and they can become quite good. And it all just depends on attention span and whether they like it enough to spend time at it. Just like the same with adults, right? Yeah, my warranty expired when I turned 30, and then it double expired when I turned 40. So yeah, back is achy lately. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, by all means, encourage them at that age. They're at that age where they can find hobbies that will carry them through, like, the first part of their lives, like hobbies that they can come back to. So keep it chill and put the emphasis on just doing it instead of like doing a perfect job out the gate. Perfection is the enemy of done. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, definitely. I love to see kids getting into the hobby. It's what's going to keep our hobby alive. Hey, Xander Cleese, thank you for the resub. 7 months. Yeah, she's getting there. We decided to go Icy Violet straight up for her cloth. And I'm also going to go Icy Violet back here on her sash. I decided I wanted to work on this today because we got a base coat on leather. We got a base coat on her cream. And we got base coat on the hair, and so I'm thinking I want to play with all of that today, and I probably also want to get this saddle brown color repeated. Probably going to use it on her corset, and also on this belt here with the cross straps over the dagger, and this belt down here. So I'm thinking that's where we're going to go, and that'll block in that. Then we'll have blocked in maybe also on this cuff here, although I did it with regular brown, so maybe not. This epaulette is going to be gold we've got a pouch there that we can also do in the brown. So what we're doing now is that since we've gotten our basic colors figured out, we're now going to repeat them. I'm also going to figure out if maybe like this front leather piece, the kind of the front of the boot, and the strap that's on it, I might do those in the saddle brown as well, because I'm really into repeating colors. Like, I don't want to use a color that's just one place on the model. Even if it's a neutral, it tends to look wrong. So I'm very much in favor of repeating colors. Oh yeah. Well, if she's autistic, she might be a perfectionist just out the gate. Sometimes kids do. Yeah. Yeah, she wants her own set. Absolutely. Well, yeah, time to invest in that Bones Kickstarter. Yeah, exactly. That's the key in our, right? At that age, you just want to have fun. Like, there was a family that came to Reaper Paint Club that he brought his daughter Maud when she was 5, and then he brought their twins when they were 5 a few years later. So yeah, at that age, they're just like throwing paint on minis, and they don't even finish them. They just blob paint on until they like what it is, and then they just go on. But as long as they're having fun, that's all that matters. Sweet. Yeah, Tashi, I have many dear friends who are a little on the spectrum. And it's, it actually gives you an advantage sometimes in this hobby, because they tend to be very detail oriented and they tend to be very focused, which is to your advantage. So alrighty, let us see here. So yeah, let's look into cream. So I did the cream here, and this is the color that I want it to end up looking like. This is the color that we really wanted. Remember, to make that color, we mixed creamy ivory and rich leather. Now, the problem, of course, is that I haven't shaded it. So for a shading color, I am naturally going to mix these two, but I'm going to mix a higher percentage of rich leather. And this is the nice thing about working with color mixes for your base coats, is then you automatically know how to mix the shadow. Because if we mixed these two to create this creamy color, then all I have to do is mix mostly this with 1 drop of creamy ivory, and I'll have a fantastic shadow for it. And then we'll just go straight up to creamy ivory and then up to white, or linen white, or bleached linen, whatever your preference is for a golden, a beigeish off-white, to do the highlights. So, but I want depth. You don't want flatness. The problem with pale colors is that you can get very flat. You've got to shade them still. You don't want to shade them very much, but you do want to shade them. Sometimes you still feel you're at that stage. You bet. We all feel like that. There are some days the paint just hates you, and you're just like, yeah, I'm done. All right, so I'm going to start with 4 drops. Again, I tend to do a 4-to-1, right? So I'm going to start with 4 drops of rich leather this time, and then 1 drop of creamy ivory. Now, another thing that this is going to inadvertently do to us that is a good thing is that y'all remember my rich leather tends to be my base coat for NMM Gold. And I am going to do some NMM Gold accents on this model. Some of these little, like the furnishings on her weapon and belt buckles, some of these things are going to be gold. Probably the little lion head pin on her hat, because it'll go well next to the purple up there, or the edging on her hat is going to be gold and that'll be silver, whatever, we're going to space it around. But the point is that since I'm going to be using that same color in my NMM Gold, it's going to make the cream and gold look good together. I just need to make sure there's enough difference between them for the different surfaces to stand out. Yeah. Blobbing. It doesn't like my blobbing word. All right. So we're even repeating colors on the model more subtly than you'd think, because we're using the same color both to mix our cream and in our NMM base. So these little things add up if you're trying to create a harmonious color scheme. And it's a subtle way to do it, right? It's like if I had chose to shade my Eldritch Purple with like black indigo, and then I also used that black indigo to shade, say, the browns on this model, which you totally can do. And I got a request actually for that sort of thing in my Patreon. I may do it this month actually for the $10 tier, since I've been kind of waffling as I fight my way through the month with NaNoWriMo going on, waffling over what my $10 video will be. So I may do choosing shading colors for other, like when you want to shade a color with a different color instead of it's just a darker version of the first color. So I may do it on that and talk about good choices for that sort of thing. But that would be another way I could subtly reuse a color. And then if I used black on this model, anywhere, I could highlight that black with black indigo plus white, and that would be another way to repeat that color. So I do this a lot. I do a lot of just subtle repeating of really saturated dark colors, or, you know, I reuse a color as a highlight, a shadow, and a midtone somewhere. Hey there, Val. Yeah, it's the basic set of rules is pretty easy for it, T-Mat. So yeah, maybe I'll do that then. I'll do a video on it, talking about like the various different just general colors and other colors that you can shade them with. All right, so we've got our shading color mixed up. It's a pretty caramel color. Look how pretty this is. This looks like you could eat it. It looks like it needs to be like in the center of a chocolate or something. So 4 drops of rich leather plus 1 drop of creamy ivory, one of my favorite off-whites, gives you this beautiful caramel color. And this is a lovely color to use for shading this cream, because we want it to be warm, remember. Hey, PM, how's it going? So I'm going to essentially load up a little of this. This could be too thick, but we'll see. I'm going to paint it into the shadows here on the pants, on the inner side of the leg, and get an idea if it's too much or if that's about where I want it. Now remember, you don't want to put it very many areas. You can see it right there. That's not bad, actually. What I think I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to also mix up my base coat here, because I want to be able to do touch-ups and a bit of blending. So I've got this 4-to-1 with 4 rich leather and 1 creamy ivory. But remember, our base coat was actually more like a 1-to-2. So 2-to-1. So let's do 4 drops of our creamy ivory and 2 drops of our rich leather. And then I'll probably also mix up a blob. There we go. Of just straight up creamy ivory, so I can pop some highlights on here and see how it looks. So I like to have all 3. I like to have my triad mixed up. If you're mixing, having your triad all in place on your palette so you can work with it while you're painting all the areas that are that color is obviously a good idea. Sometimes I'll even mix up my next highest highlight, because I never will do a single highlight. It's always got at least 1 more, maybe 2 in this case. In this case, I might do a creamy ivory plus white and then go up to pure white. But let me get water out here. Now I want this mid-tone color to stay thicker, so I'm not going to put as much water in it. I am going to add a ton of water to my highlight color, however. So I've got some cool colors, or some cool miniatures, guys, to work on after the holiday. Like, I want to use, I want to get some more models done. Like, I would like to get this girl done, and I'd like to get, oh, this actually looks a little bit darker than what we put on before. Maybe I accidentally put too much in there. We'll see. We'll use it anyway. But I was thinking we'd work on some guys, because we've been working on a lot of female models, which is great and all, and everybody loves the girls, but... And it took us so long for our, Hey there, Scud. How's it going? But yeah, I was thinking that we'd work on a couple of these guys. Like this guy, I really like, the Adventuring Wizard. Like, he's got a little goatee. He's a Bobby Jackson sculpt. He's pretty fantastic, so I thought we'd work on him. He's got a lot of cloth. We can do some interesting colors. And then also, these might go to the new year, but I'm hoping December. This guy, who's got very African features. So I think I painted the model for Ron for this, but I'd like a redo on him, I think. And he's cool. And then for females, I've got Olivia, who's the little priestess in the gown with the little potion bottle. So she's also on the docket. I've ordered a lot of really cool character models last time I put in a Reaper order. I disagree. I think that I should be equal representational on this stream. I tend to paint women because I enjoy painting women, but and mostly that is the fact that there was such a long period of time where there were no decent female sculpts, or there were very few decent female sculpts. They were all in dresses and always sorceresses. Well, actually, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about making Eric actually kind of an orc, but I wasn't sure. Orcs are... I tend to do orcs differently than other people, though. Relia, I like to add a lot of natural browns into my greenish skin tones. I don't like the bright green skin tones. Anybody can paint a bright green orc. But I like to do a more naturalistic orky skin tone. So how far off am I here? No, actually that's about right. Interesting. This color looks so brown on the palette, but then when I painted over this is actually the right color. I think what's throwing me off is that when I put it over the black, I didn't get all you remember how when you put anything over black, it goes kind of cold. It gets kind of ashy underneath until you get like a really, really solid cover on it. And I think that's what happened here is that I thought that this was a lighter color just because the black was making it look lighter. So here, now that I've got the color remixed, I can put another coat on and then work in shadows. So the cuffs. But yeah, and actually I'm painting a half-orc. I'm going to be converting and painting a half-orc for my D&D game over on my own stream. This little Miniatures Guild monk. She's going to be a half-orc. So I'm going to actually add pointed ears and small fangs to her. So we could do the same sort of thing to one of those guys and turn them into a half-orc. Wouldn't call them swamp orcs. I don't like to do bright green orcs. I have painted an orc army for Games Workshop. I've done it. I don't want to do it again. For D&D, I like a more natural tone for orcs. I liked the Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings that they were just, dark skinned. I kind of I take that and then I take it and introduce some olivey tones to it. Because I still want a greenish hue, but especially for a half orc, I don't want it to be too green. I like them to look like real people. I like it to not look so cartoony. Everybody will have their own different thing. If you want to paint an orc green, just use a regular green triad. I mean, I tended to use, when I was doing the Revan for Warlord, back when we were doing Warlord, and I was painting that army, my go-to was to base coat in Pale Olive 9036, and then to shade it with Muddy Olive 9034. Hey there, Zambies. How's it going? Yeah, I mean, to each their own. To each their own with it. You can do half orcs so many different colors, as long as your cosmology backs it up in your world or your GM's world. Who cares? And anything can be used as a skin tone. But I like to do some subtle stuff with half orc skin tones. So when we do a half orc. If I do one of those guys as a half-orc, maybe I'll do the goatee guy. Maybe I'll do the wizard as a half-orc, because that's an unconventional half-orc. And I like unconventional. All right, so we're just putting a little bit of a more solid base coat on our cream color now before we go and majorly dive in. Because we're going to highlight and shade it. So we want a nice solid coat. And it's going to be the edge here. And that's right, I hadn't thought about whether I wanted to do it on the edge up here. And if I do it up here, then my feather's the wrong color. So that's the downside. Now, I am going to do gold trim on her shirt down here. So there is certainly a precedent, and there may even be gold trim around these cuffs, actually, now that I look at them and I see there's an actual border stitched in there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, as long as it makes you happy. Hey, it's Zambi's birthday? Happy birthday, Zambies, if I missed that. So yeah, so we'll end up having probably a bit of gold edging here and there. So we'll see. But this jacket, definitely, because this is coming straight up from the lapels, which are definitely cream, I'm going that way. I kind of do. I'm going to go neutral with this, and maybe we'll do a little bit of design on it. I normally don't go light colored with scabbards, but because the backside of the model is darker, and because I want to repeat colors again, and I've already got the icy violet there, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for cream color on the scabbard. And I'll probably keep it mostly shaded because, again, the backside of the figure is going to be more in shadow. You can see my zenith shading on the base. My zenith priming has the light source coming very much from the front to the point where it left shadows in the base behind her. So we got to keep that up. Oh, does that mean you crashed? If it was, or no, sorry, Y2K was the actual year 2000. 2001 wasn't the crash. If your operating system like reboots when you turn 2000, is that the way it happens? Or did it reboot when you hit 2000 zombies and that's why, you've just had that kind of year? Is that why 2020 was the way it was? Because because zombies rebooted at year 2000? Kiri, I hope you're comfortable. I hope we don't get a Kiri emergency. She's been unpredictable since we've been on meds, so yeah, if there's a Kiri emergency, expect me to run out. But I'm hoping that we can overcome. What's up, little doglet? The doglet is restless. This is a sign. So I'm going to keep a close eye on her. David's out there on a call. Are you okay? Kiri, come here. You okay? She's got kind of that look on, but her tail's all right. Kiri. Sorry, guys. Distracted by old dog. Hey, old dog, come here. What's up? Come here. You want to go out? All right. I'm going to assume... Wait. She's coming back. Good girl. Sometimes it's hard to tell if she's just like, hey, David is out there, why can't I go see David? And or if she's actually uncomfortable because she has a Kiri moment. We've used this year for all the wrong things. Oh, I wouldn't dream of blaming it on zombies. But then again, as I kept pointing out to David, because David's like, rawr, 2020, and I'm like, but my 2020 has been really good. Oh yeah, Kiri's got to go, guys. Okay, we're gonna go out, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Okay. So here, have a pirate flag and a Kiri emergency. Be right back.
How is everyone? Doing well, I hope. It is a short week for me too, D. Clearman. I actually took the next 2 days off, and by that I mean I'm just not coming into the studio, but we'll still be streaming. Don't worry. It's actually not sunny today, Kurt Echo. I woke up this morning. It was overcast and 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's kind of cold because my heater wasn't on. So it was like it's pretty chilly in my house this morning. I think the holiday sale. Now, don't quote me on this, but pretty sure the holiday sale starts Friday, doesn't it? It could start Thursday. Let me see if there's a. Let me see if I can message Ron here real quick and see if he can give me that information. Um, yeah, actually, Max Styles. That's what I was telling Ann earlier. Is I like kind of being in between big projects because it allows for me to kind of recenter myself. Kind of get some peace of mind and reorganize reorganize things and get stuff going. So I think right now we are going to put more sound paneling up because there's not enough. Dave ordered some more. We still have to completely build the set. It is coming along though. It is. It is. It's basically, I would say, the actual building itself in preparation to putting in new sets and shows and stuff is probably 80% done. I mean, and the other 20% is really just set design. It's kind of determining what we want it to look like, and because they all want to use green screens left and right, but I'm partial to physical sets. I think it looks a little better, but um, at least in some circumstances. But um, We're still designing the sets. We're still getting like the tables that they're going to sit at are going to be different, so we have to get that going. Um, uh, yeah, absolutely. Valfair, he actually orders most things in the factory. Most inventory ordering goes through him, I believe. So, and no, Max, I haven't tried out my Vex. Rella, I wouldn't mind seeing Anne paint Bella the Succubus, but that's because that's my favorite mini of all time. Um, but she can't really do that because it's Twitch. So unless she sculpts, clothes onto her. Thank you, Trash Rama. Also, thank you for the thing you sent me yesterday. It was pretty funny. Yeah, she would need a bra and she would need some sort of like she'd almost need a swimsuit. Because I believe she's completely naked. Yeah, I believe she is. Yeah, actually, freestyle. That's kind of the plan now, is to create a backdrop that's full of trinkets and knickknacks, and I think people enjoy seeing all of the stuff in the background, especially when it's references to stuff. Um, basically, basically, if you see the Justin doll up there, you go, ah, it's the Justin doll, and you laugh about it, right? But I mean, just having a flat green screen background, it just I don't know, it starts to look too digital. I think it doesn't give the same homey, you know, modern feel. It seems like a shortcut that just doesn't quite look as good, in my opinion. Um, Trash. I'm actually going to play it tonight, assuming the servers hold up. I'd never hold my breath for like WoW launches. I appreciate that you guys liked it. I think I do feel like our reception of the 100th episode was fairly positive. I think most people enjoyed it. Um, we did. We gave away a lot of stuff, and I feel like it was content packed. I feel like it was the quickest hour and a half for an episode because it was just one thing after another. There was never a dull issue or never a dull moment. I meant. I agree, Margaret. It's the servers almost certainly will have some amount of issues. That's true. When BFA launched, was everyone able to play day one? Was there no there wasn't any issues, was there? I don't remember. I played at launch, but I don't remember it having any problems, so maybe that's a good thing. Yes, guys, that's kind of what they had the idea to do, was kind of take a photo of the old background and then just put it up on a green screen, but it's I don't know, doesn't quite have the same effect.
There we go. Hey guys. Oh boy. Whee. Oh, you guys talking WoW? Yeah, David and I re-upped our accounts yesterday.
Are you expecting Miss Ann for the servers to actually be playable tonight?
Yeah.
I, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have faith in Blizzard. I mean, if you're going to launch they're not it's not like they're newbies at this. Like I expect some
Oh
queue
God, no,
times.
yeah.
I expect some queue times, but I don't know. I expect there not to be crashes.
I hope so too. I
Yeah.
really do.
I mean, they must know that that this is gonna be a popular storyline because Sylvanas is popular, right? And this is
Yeah.
looks cool, right?
Well,
I mean,
and
that's
it's
what
a
got me to come back. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and it's kind of a return to Ice Crown, and
Yeah.
I was reading some kind of some polling and some metrics on this, saying that basically this has basically seen the biggest resurgence for an expansion since what they say? I think since uh Wildlick,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
since Wildlick. I mean, Legion was big, but people came to that mid expansion because people
Right.
talked about how good it was, not
Right.
because they
Not
anticipated
because.
it.
Right. Exactly. And this and it's COVID, right? So we have people playing more video games than ever. So it's pretty much a perfect storm of a good storyline, a return to, as you say, Ice Crown, and the feel of a lot of people's favorite expansion, right? Was Wrath of the Lich King. It was mine. So yeah, this is
Mine
pretty
too.
cool. Yeah, so I mean, David and I are gonna play together. We've been looking for a new game anyway, so I'm Alliance, Rella.
Hey, to be fair, Horde and Alliance don't like her. She's pretty evil at this point, as far
Yeah,
as what
yeah.
she's
Nobody
done.
likes
So
Sylvana. She's a good villain. But yeah, I've been Alliance since my original guild started out Horde on day one, and before the day was over, they had all swapped to Alliance. So I ended up with my day one dwarf priestess, who is Vitala, who I actually have a miniature of, thanks to John Bono and Jennifer Haley, who got Werner's Clock to sculpt my WoW character. I wonder if David has her. I don't have her like right here next to me, or I'd show you guys. But only very good and friends get copies of that miniature. There are less than 24 in existence. And Ron keeps wanting to put her out as a release, and I keep refusing. Because, like, it would be like, when somebody gives you something special as a gift, and then you're like, oh yeah, just go take it and market this all worldwide. It just feels kind of cheap. So yeah. I tend to play it in little chunks, Coobs. I tend to play it for an hour and leave it for a while. But I still enjoy it, and I still enjoy the storylines. So, and like I said, David and I have been looking for something to play together again. So, yeah, Justin, we ended up going to Katie's server. We started our transfers last night.
oh yeah, no problem. I actually have her on my friends list. I think when I'm on my Alliance character, I've talked to her about maybe raiding with them, but she's in a pretty fairly serious raiding guild, I think.
She is, but they have a friends and family guild. So that's where David and I are looking at, because what they do, even though it's a hardcore raiding guild that she is in, the friends and family guild, what they do is they have family nights where you can go, and experienced people will essentially run you through the raid as the friends and family group. So they'll just so you can see it. So they'll run like casual raids for the friends and family. Just so I could still like raid on easy mode, with experienced raiders from her guild to see the raids. I don't think I would ever raid again. I used to be a hardcore raider back in vanilla, but I like that option. David and I will probably level by just by ourselves, but then once we hit max level, we may apply to friends and family part of her guild, and that way we'll have a guild and people to run dungeons with and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, everybody is either Alliance or Horde based on, usually it's where your friends hang out, right? So my friends just all swapped back to Alliance in the beginning, and so I ended up being Alliance for the nonce. And now I'm just attached to Vitala, so I'm just attached to my main because I've been playing her for so long. Um, oh, I like Final Fantasy XIV. I actually was playing it briefly. I think it's a great game. I could never get David to play it because it's so slow. Like, it's so story intensive and it starts so slow. Like, there's no way. He did me the grace of considering it, read about it, and went, this is not my kind of game. And I respect that. Whereas WoW is a lot more, I think, his speed. And like I said, I've got a character. I skipped the last expansion entirely. But, we're back. Hey, Neo Show, thank you. 15 months. Wow. That's impressive. What I'm missing chat. No chat. I need to go up and read all of the things that I missed. I'm falling behind. The dog threw me off. If you're a recovering WoW addict, stay strong. That's funny. Yeah, she's evil, but she's hot, Rella. That's why. I don't know. Fluff-wise, people are obsessed with her because fluff-wise, she's a very interesting character. She's gone all different directions, and you could argue the reason she's such a compelling, good, evil character, and it's the same with Arthas, is she started with the best intentions. And she still believes that what she is doing is for the best overall. Everybody, like, disagrees with her, but that doesn't make it, she's compelling because she believes that she has a vision that this is for the best eventually. Now, her perspective is skewed because, Undead Banshee Queen and all that. Crazy. But other than that, you retired in Legion. Yeah, Legion was my last one too. And I knew that Legion was coming. Like, I predicted it for years because is like obvious that you're building up to a reinvasion of the Burning Legion. So, I played that one. I mean, I enjoy WoW, but I'm not addicted to it like I used to be. Like, it's WoW. At this point, I can go back, like last night, sat down, played a couple hours with David, just to see some of the past expansion that I missed and to try to get my character closer to 50, because I didn't feel like using my boost on a character that only needed 5 levels. And it's fun, but it's WoW. Well, Koobs, that is a facet of her character. But, I mean, she also has just hated the servitude aspect of death and the Lich King, the Lich King and his whole program. That's why she, in the cinematic trailer for this expansion, she says that life is a prison, right? For her, it is. For her and for her fellow undead, it is. So that's why, for me, she's a compelling character. Sure, she's done some darn evil stuff. Oh yeah, does she hate the living? You bet she does. But she also thinks that she's doing something overall for the greater good, for at least for her undead. Yeah, she's aiming to, like, rework the boundary of life and death, is what she's aiming to do. Yeah, she is self-interested. There's no question for that. Does she even remember being, like, a living thing, a night elf? Only probably, like, insofar as things that she has lost and why she's bitter over them, right? But no, this is good writing, in my opinion. Yes. Well, Sylvanas is trying to make a point. I mean, just because somebody has an end in mind that's not pure evil, it doesn't make them a good character. They're still a villain, but they are a compelling villain because you could see then why with a good villain, you need to see why they're doing things. If you just have them off doing evil, they're not compelling. Arthas was compelling as a villain because he came from being good, from having the best intentions, committed atrocities, and then was tempted by evil and wasn't able to break it, and became a great villain because of that. There was always that idea that not only were you killing the Lich King, you were also freeing the good soul of Arthas, right? And that's why it was a cool fight and a cool story. So with Sylvanas, you have a chance to replay that from a different perspective. Like, nobody thinks there's any bit of good left in Sylvanas at this point. They could be wrong. And the tantalizing possibility of being wrong, of maybe Sylvanas has been right all along about something, even if it's not everything. That's I think what makes her interesting. Well, yeah, any good villain should absolutely be working from a position of they are the good guy. Everybody in their head is the good guy. Even the most toxic, awful person you meet on the internet believes that they are that they're the hero, that they're the hero of their story, that they are coming from a defensible perspective in their head. You may not agree with it, and to them, to you, they might be the villain, but it is true. Any villain should have that perspective. Any villain should believe that what they're doing is for the best. Yeah. Otherwise, it's unrealistic. That's why I've always felt that chaotic evil is something that only belonged to, like, madmen and beasts, because it isn't compelling. I consider a lawful evil character so much more interesting. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Thanos as well, Skysclayer. Exactly. Well, but then there was, for those who just want to watch the world burn, they always have an interesting backstory about why they have come to that perspective. And Sylvanas is at that point, right? Now she just wants to watch the world burn. She has tried so hard through the years to, like, you know, to either escape what she's got or, you know, to help her the, you know, the undead of the horde escape what they're tied to, you know. She's done many things, and now she's to the point where it's all failed. It's all come down to she's failed as war leader. She failed to achieve her goals there. You know, everybody hates her. She only has her own vision of what the world should be for her left to drive her, and she's you know, about to see what that is. So. Hey, Neo Show. Yeah. Most of the cast is going to be. This is a metal figure for the run of it. I prefer metal, but that's because I like. If I'm working on a very detail heavy character, I prefer metal. I should say. I actually use a lot of bones in the painting I do on this show because they're easy. I love that they've made the hobby affordable again. For a long time, their miniature prices were shooting up, and it was just like, man, for those of us who are just like hardcore mini collectors, it was getting really expensive, and it still is really expensive if you're going for resin or things like that. But all right, so there's my shading. That's kind of, I'm trying this out. I mixed up some walnut. It's probably a little too dark but since I'm planning on making the upper part of these cuffs gold, that's not too bad actually. But I probably won't use the walnut. If I want to mix a darker shadow than this caramel, I'm going to have to use some brown liner probably. I want a more transparent brown, or maybe even some russet brown would go even more so. But if I want to go more natural, I think I'm probably going to go brown liner. Brown liner makes a great natural shader. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI is before my time. I didn't get into Final Fantasy until like 8, 9, 10, and then 11. 11 was my first online game. Online MMO, I should say. Alright, so we're going to mix a little bit of a shadow now, in addition. Yeah, where are we on the way to the next AMA? That's a good question, Justin. Do you know?
Honestly,
Yeah.
in complete honesty, I have no idea. I have not tracked it in quite a while.
Oh, no.
But I'm sure I can do some chronicling over the course of the next couple of days.
Yeah, you can look back and see. There we go. So there's a darker color, guys. See? So this is brown liner plus my mix here. And it's graying out a little bit. It's going a little bit gray. But that's what I want for a shadow. Shadows do tend to go gray. Unless they're, you know, out under the bright sunlight. But that's not this character. So I'm all right with that. I can use that. And when I do use that for shading, I'm going to thin it down quite a bit. 1 to 1 at least. And then I'm going to apply it just in very little areas. Yeah, they're still good games, right, Shadow Raven? It's just, the 8-bit graphics actually bother me. Like, I'm one of those people who, like, if a game is not pretty, it just does not compel me to play it. And that was actually true. That's what actually got me in MMOs in the first place was that Final Fantasy XI was very pretty. I watched my friends play 9 and 10. 9 is still my favorite, I think, as far as the characters and the story in the world, but I tried to replay 9 a while ago, but the really crude graphics the cutscenes are beautiful, but you have to play through all the crude graphics to get there. And I just can't. I'm just not into the really crude graphics. I actually was playing computer games through those years, so it's like not fun and retro to me. It's like, can we please get beyond this? Maybe it's the artist in me. I like when Witcher 3 came out, I was just like, yeah. Or Skyrim. So when Skyrim came out, I'm like, yep, this is what I've been waiting for. The capability for video games to create an immersive and gorgeous existence. WoW even is bothering me a little bit now because it is a bit retro still. They've remodeled and smoothed out a lot of things, but it's still WoW, and at times I look at it and I kind of sigh. Hey Francis, how's it going? Yeah, Final Fantasy X was excellent. Yeah, and it looked good. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't picked up 14 again. I played it when it first came out and sucked, and then I played it a little bit afterwards. But then I had their login server difficulties, and I just couldn't manage to get my account to resurrect, and I just gave up. I'm like, all right, you've lost me. If you have this many problems, and you should know better because you've made so many games, you know, then I'm lost. I'm done for now. I may come back to it. I keep being tempted to come back to 14 because I really did like the storyline. It's the kind of thing that I like, and I like Final Fantasy, but now I'm just down to the point where I've got so little time that I'm like, I need to choose where I'm spending it. So you can see the effect of all 3 levels, or all of the 2 levels of shading right here. So I'm using the caramel color at first, which is the warm tone that you see. And then when you get down to the bottom where it kind of grays out and darkens out right down here, I'm using that color that I mixed with just a little bit of brown liner added into that caramel color and thinned down. So I can create an even darker shadow. If I'm going to do good work, I find that 5 colors is 5 layers is minimal, is the minimum I need. So I need to have usually a mid-tone, 2 shadows, and 2 highlights, or it may be a mid-tone, 1 shadow, and 3 highlights. But I need at least that, in my experience, to get a nice shift from dark to light. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Coobs. It is frustrating, isn't it? You're just like, yeah, whatever. No more. Alright, so now let's get some of this caramel color and do it. And you can see how flat, like you can see the flatness of the original cream base coat. And then you look at the front and now you see how much more dimension we've got between the cuffs and here, just for adding in the pants, right? Just adding that shadow. So that's what we're aiming for. That's what you want. You want dimension. Even if you're doing a simple color that's just an accent color, you still want to see that shift and that definition. And I'm just going to do some quick blending out here on the side of the leg to bring my shadow in a little bit so I can define that muscle. See? Just kind of brought that in. I'm going to thin down my base coat just a tad here since I don't really need it for solidity anymore. For now, it's just going to be touch-ups. Once I have everything base coated firmly with the cream that I want to be cream. Oh, Kuroniko, one side is armored and one side is not. She has armor on the pistol side of her leg. It's one of those asymmetrical designs that Izzy likes so much. But if you see, you can see the armor plates, and this is just cloth. Yeah. It is totally an Izzy design, Pendrake. I mean, it's not curious at all if you know Izzy. It's because you've got the firearm on this side, so probably she's like, it implies you need more armor. If you've got a smoking barrel of a gun that's hot down around your leg, you probably do want some armor down there. If you're going to be like carrying it in your hand and it's right next to your leg. If you have cloth, you're asking for scorch marks and holes and blisters. If you get in an accident. So that could be it. That's what I prefer to think. But yeah. It's kind of like she also has more armor on her sword hand because she wants to protect her hand because that's the hand that's out and trying to block strikes and things. So, In my opinion, this is armor because of this weapon, and the extra armor on her other hand is because of that weapon. So it's purposeful. Oh yeah, well she's a pro at armor design, like at costume design in general, and clothing, Sky's clear. So, I mean, that's why Izzy does such great character design, is because she comes from that background, and she does put a ton of thought. You know, in a lot of cases, there'll be outfits she'll have actually vetted and created, like she sews and she does, you know, that sort of thing. And she has a bunch of friends at the Renaissance Fair who do, you know, like armor and all the rest of that sort of design. So I think I thinned my ivory just a little bit too much. I'm going to actually add a little bit more to my highlight color. But yeah, so she's working. Yeah, and it makes not every model the same, right? So when you're thinking directly about who this character is and what she would need and what she fights with, then you can draw upon that with your costume design to make things a little bit different, and that's what Izzy does, and that's why she's so dang good. So see how that leg is, like, the details on that leg are coming out now. We've got some nice folds in the cloth, and we've got some shading coming up. I put a little layer of highlighting on. It was a little bit more... Yeah, it's Izzy. Well, yeah, but, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to wear the armor, does it, Val? If you know you're going to be fighting with your pistol, reloading, and, you know, running on the fly through the streets of whatever town you're fighting in, I think that you're going to be just fine wearing a little extra leg armor. You can only bring in so much real world into the fantasy. At some point, you must allow fantasy to be fantasy at some point. Just a little. I like a lot of realism in my stuff, but gotta do a dark shadow back here, way behind the leg. Also, I did not paint the pants on this side, so I'm gonna actually bring in a little bit, just a suggestion of shadow behind this armor with the caramel color and a little bit of my mid-tone. It wouldn't be very bright back behind the armor, so I just need a little bit to suggest that is a pant leg back there. See it? There. Okay, have fun, Rella. Thanks for stopping in. You have a good day, too. Hey, Daffodweir, how's it going? Daffodweir pops in to replace Rella. Not that anybody can replace Rella, but we have our people popping in, people popping out. I'm going to get the pants on this side behind the armor also. Just getting it, the area behind the gun. You don't need to take it up very much because, like I said, the armor is kind of blocking the light and it's on the back of the leg. So at most, I would go up to my mid-tone here. But you want to suggest that the pants are there at least. Since I'm working with the cream, I am just going to block that all in. There, that's better. There you can see the pants. Yeah, she has armor on her hand and not on that leg. You can take it up with Izzy if you feel that this design is unrealistic, but don't make Izzy cry or we are all going to hate you. And the other thing I tend to say to people who critique artist designs is, do one better. Nothing actually gets me going more as an artist in a negative way than people critiquing my work and, like, finding flaw with it. It's like, if you think you can do better, sit down at the table and get out some paper and do better. That may sound harsh, but as an artist, that's the way it feels. So always be aware that when you say that sort of thing to an artist, it may actually sound like the worst criticism, especially to somebody who's really sensitive. So just watch how you put it. The best way to do it is probably to ask why the design was that way. In which case the artist will probably look up at you and say, because it felt like it. Since change, I've actually been working on the Gemstone Dragon is the one that I've been working on from Bones 5. That's funny because you bring it up because Justin has been bugging me to paint gemstones. He wants to watch me paint gemstones. Maybe we'll get out. So here's Gemstone Dragon. Here, let's just bring Gemstone Dragon in for a guest star. Guest star. Gemstone Dragon. I was just working with the same indigo or same icy violet color on the wings. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But yeah, so I'm doing the crystals. There's your crystals. So yeah. Right, exactly, Kuriko. It's like when somebody criticizes mini painting and they've never bothered to pick up a brush. When somebody offers $25 for a painted miniature and you're just like, no. But yeah, so this is Gemstone Dragon. He's in the Bones 5 Kickstarter. He's the one that I've got. I haven't asked Ron for it's actually orange. The orange and green. I wanted a forest dragon. Hold on. I wanted an autumn forest dragon. So the orange is actually, these are actually using some of the new Kickstarter colors. The orange is actually lotus orange from the Kickstarter. And then the green is actually leaf bud green from the Kickstarter. Shaded with ancient oak and naga green. And then we're using some brown liner to shade the lotus orange, and I'm highlighting it up with some NMM gold highlight. Yeah, I work on him here and there, Pendrake. So he's like coming up. He's coming around. I could have gone with the gold for his wing membranes, but frankly, I was bored, and so I decided I wanted a different punch of color. Well, no, you can't even get the 9Ks. Well, yeah, this is the Bones 5 model, Tashi, right? So if I'm painting a Bones 5 model, I wanted to use some Bones 5 paint. You may as well just do the complete tease. Yeah, that's when you look at him and say, it took me 25 hours to paint this, and that's like 15 cents an hour, so the answer is no. Yeah, exactly. If you ordered the new paint colors for the Kickstarter 5 and the dragon, then you will get them all together, Tashi. Exactly. See, but that's the only Bones 5 model I have, because when I left Reaper and came out to the West Coast, we only had 3D prints of some models, and this is the one I grabbed. Let me put him back up on his spot. There he is. And I haven't bugged Ron to like mail me any Bones 5. I figure it'll be out soon enough. No, I did raid the stash. It's just we didn't have a lot printed at that time, Tashi. Because it's always limited, like, what prints from the Kickstarter or what resins or what is hanging out on Ron's desk. And the Gemstone Dragon was kind of a coup. I mean, because that's one of the favorite models in the Kickstarter of anybody that I've seen. So the fact that I got him to paint is already cool. But a lot of times I don't want to paint the 3D print. I'd rather paint the actual model. So depending on how well the print is cleaned off. Or a lot of the problem with the prints also is that they're pre-assembled, so I can't do anything if I can't do things like leave her hand off until I've painted what's under it. Bones 5 Cerberus Kiri paints. I just painted a Kiri. Or, well, okay, started. I base coated a Kiri. Here's Kiri. Kiri is Isabel's dog, although her name in the game is Staccato. So there. See, we have a Kiri paint scheme. That's how you paint a Kiri. She's so cute. So cute. So yeah. I guess, no, Isabel's not she was a Bones 4. I was just gonna do leather. I've been messing around with the off leather colors in Bones, and I really wanted to find a place for saddle brown pendrake, and so that's what I used on this. So I was not planning to make it metal. I've done so much metal lately on the Duelist and other models that I wanted to do some leather plate armor, and so I'm gonna actually this leather color is gonna get repeated up here once I'm done with the cream today. We're gonna go start on blocking some of that in so we can add some color. Actually, it's kind of funny because the staccato model, the little Kiri dog, looks like Kiri as a tiny puppy. Because when Kiri first came to me, her ears hadn't stood up yet. So this reminds me of photos taken of Kiri as a baby. She was pretty adorbs, guys. Yeah, Twisted Oh My, one of my favorite motivational writers kind of used that as a comparison. The problem of where she kept trying to like make money by selling crafts that she did, and then she realized that, you know, charging anything less than $5,000 for a caftan that she had knitted was essentially accepting below minimum wage, well below minimum wage, for all of her hours of investment and the materials. So yeah, quilting, people don't understand how much time like weaving and quilting and knitting, all that sort of thing, those handmade crafts, I mean, they're heirlooms for a reason, right? Like, it's like your grandmother's quilt that she did by hand is an heirloom for a reason. Yeah, clear stuff paints up fine. I mean, I put him away, but I was working on the Halloween Wraith. I showed you guys some stuff on that. You can paint it just normal. You can paint it solid and it's fine. The details are fine. So just adding a little bit more shading in here under the collar where there would be shading. So that's got a nice natural look to it now. If I would have just shaded with this caramel color, it would be very warm and it would look very cartoon. But shading with this color that I added brown liner to just adds a more natural look. More of a natural shadow. Walnut and brown liner are both great for this. If you want a very natural, if you want to shift a color very dark into a shadow color that's very natural looking. Yeah, Avrilina, that sort of thing, right? Right. It's people don't understand. I mean, and usually if somebody's just kind of clueless, you know, like when people used to come to Paint Club and want a painted model, and I'm like, well, it depends on, you know, who I would recommend for you. You know, it depends on how much you're looking to pay and what level of work you want. And when they're like, I could pay $50, I'd be like, all right, you don't want me. And they'd be like, why? And I'm like, because I'm going to spend X number of hours and I need to get paid X amount of dollars to make it worth my while because I'm doing it on my free time. And my free time is valuable to me. And usually when you break it down into a per hour, they're like, their eyes get big and they're just like, oh, you know. And if anybody tries the argument of, but you enjoy it, then look at them and say, yeah, and I could be working on something for me that I enjoy instead of working on somebody else's project. You know, and that usually brings it home to them that they're being somewhat unrealistic. Because, yeah, sure, I enjoy it, but I'd enjoy it even more if I was not working for you. So you're going to pay for it if you want me to spend my hours on it. Because otherwise, I'd just be, you know, sitting, painting fun little models I wanted to paint. I'm doing some highlights, grabbing my creamy ivory. Mostly concentrating on the upper surfaces. Want to kind of keep a nice blend between highlight and shadow, so when I lose my midtone, I'm going to have to bring it back in. And my background is not doing very well, but you can see how it's gotten lighter there. Yeah, Java Druid. And I think people are getting more and more outspoken about that these days. That's why whenever any of my artistic friends, like, want to give, like, discounts or, you know, or get persuaded to do cheap work, I'm like, don't do it. You're going to regret it. It's going to feel terrible. And you're also disadvantaging every other artist that person ever tries to commission a piece from, because you've done it for really little. So now that person that you're doing it for is going to expect that is the value of what you just did, even when it's not you doing it. And if you're uncomfortable charging significant money for your work, read a great book by Amanda Palmer called The Art of Asking. It is not wrong to expect to get fair compensation for your time and your art. It's a great audiobook. She reads it herself if you like audiobooks, or you could read it, but I am an Amanda Palmer fan, so at least of her general work. Alrighty. Just gotta kind of make sure those, that's all come out. The collar's coming out really nice now. Yes, Amanda Palmer's The Art of Asking was up for several awards the year it came out. And it is pretty much about her own journey, Tashi, to try to understand, like, that that it's okay to ask. Like, it's okay to say, hey, I'm an artist and I'm asking you to pay me for my work. She used to work as a living statue back in college, and so she was a street performer, and then she became a musician, and then a writer. And all through it, she's had to fight the internal belief that what she's doing isn't, you know, worth that much, right? Because it is American culture, especially, I think, tends to devalue art, and you feel guilty asking to get paid, which is ridiculous. And so, but she's had to fight that throughout her years. So throughout her years of being an artist, and I think all of us as artists, if we ever do get to the point where somebody asks us to do something for them, we all run into that. We all, even me, like, especially with the Patreon, it's just like, you know, essentially I'm asking you guys to help me support myself as an artist. And it means so much to me that you guys are like, hell yeah, more stuff, you know, please do more art. Tell us how you do it. So, and it's a battle for some people to start a Patreon because they feel guilty about it, because they're uncomfortable asking for support for their art. You know, and it's a thing. The Art of Asking, it talks about general asking for help and the problem also, Tashi. She is an artist, so a lot of her stories are going to be from the perspective of an artist. But she also talks about just asking for help in general, like, you know, like times where she's, you know, and she talks about, like, seeing people more. Amanda's a social activist, so she talks a lot about, like, inequality and the failure to see each other as human beings, and how that can make everything very hard. So I don't know, read some reviews of the book and maybe listen to an excerpt and see if it might work for you. Yeah. Well, I mean, and sometimes you just have to look at your friend and say, you know, I thought about it, and I've got these models I need to paint for me too, and so I don't have a lot of time to paint right now, and I'd have to charge, you know, X amount really to feel like I could do it, and I know that might be too much for you, so you might want to go and find somebody else. And that's not offensive. That's a non-offensive way to do it, right? Is to say, hey, I won't have the time, and there's some other painting studios out there that might be able to do it, and, you know, I'm sorry, but I just can't. You know, and I wanted to talk to you about it, you know, honestly. And people who can't handle honest talk, well, that's a shame. But most people I know would be disappointed, but they'd be like, oh, okay. And better to do it sooner than later. If you've talked about doing it with this person and you have doubts, it's best to just rip the Band-Aid off as fast as you can. Because the longer you wait and the longer they stay with that assumption, the more time both of you are wasting. Like, you're wasting time going back and forth on how to present it to them, and they're still, you know, they're wasting time that they could be using to find somebody else to paint it. I'm very much a rip the Band-Aid off type of person. Ed would tell you this. Yeah, it is a weird thing, Max. I think that the craftspeople have just had a longer period of time being organized as as unions and as people taking them seriously business wise, whereas artists tend to be individuals, and so we aren't we don't have a union. A lot of the time our stuff has been devalued in American culture, and I speak as somebody who wanted to be an artist from an early age, but who was constantly presented with the idea that art was not a real job. Constantly. In school, my parents, my relatives, articles you read in the paper, whatever, art is not a real job. That's what everybody was always telling me. So I know very well, no matter what anybody says, and times are changing, but America has a long history of devaluing art and artists. We put so much emphasis on production, direct production of things, tangibles, something that can be multiplied or produced in bulk, that the importance of individual work and visionary work and something that doesn't have, perceived intrinsic value beyond its ideas or its execution. We're bad at that. America is bad at thinking of art as a valuable pursuit. Hopefully we will get better. And I went over a little bit on my feather here, so I'm just neatening up my edges before I start highlighting and shading it. I haven't decided if I want to put extra colors in the feather. Right now, I think I'm going to paint it up and just do its ivory side. I can always add patterns to the feather. Most feathers are going to start out light or dark basis, and then you can, fancy them up if you want to. So just neatening up my line around the feather there. Oh yeah, those people. We have those people come into Reaper. There was one who wanted a Maldrakar painted for like $50 or $100 and thought it was perfectly fair. What could not get it into his head that he would have to pay more than the model cost to get a paint job on it. So yes, very toxic. Right, exactly. Why would they do that when they were getting her to work for free, right, Inara? Yeah, exactly. Encourage innovation, but discourage art. Yep. Agreed. Yeah, that might be part of it, Tashi. Again, it comes back to, but you do that for fun. And my response is always yes, but if I wanted to do it for fun, I would just do it for me. If I'm doing it for you, it's a job. They don't like to hear it, but that's the way I put it. If I had my way, I would never do another commission again. That honestly is the reason for the Patreon and for Twitch and all of it. Because I would much rather be working on awesome projects of my own than doing commission work. I don't mind doing a commission here and there for a friend, though I'd still charge money for it. But I really want to get away from doing regular commissions. I've been doing them for a long time. They tend not to pay as well as everything else, and you don't get to exercise nearly as much creativity. So that is where I am. Yes, Patreon, all about it. The less commissions, the bigger the Patreon gets, the more I can drop commission work. But when you're losing half to taxes when you're a freelancer, it means that, what may look like a lot of money isn't a lot of money anymore. So I have to get it up a bit more before I can say no to commission work. Yeah, it's cool, Tashi. Just enjoy what you've got. Anne's Patreon will be... Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, Shadow Raven, thanks. Yeah. Right, Kaji, exactly, right? There's this, oh, I can make it myself for that. Okay, have fun. They hate to hear that. Like, when it comes to their own time, then, suddenly they're all possessive. But, when it comes to your time, everybody loves to spend everybody else's time. It's sad. It is. It is sad. But you know what? Keep a sense of humor about it, guys. Like, I have a sense of humor about this. You know, educate people as you can in the nicest way possible. And keep a sense of humor. Don't get bitter. Bitterness doesn't serve anybody. It just makes you sad. Nobody likes to be sad. And even if they're actively trying to be toxic, often you can really frustrate and disarm them by coming at it from a, oh, I'd love to educate you about this, perspective. And then if they get really, really toxic or attacking at you, then it's like, I no longer need to talk to you. Goodbye. I'm sorry you feel like that. I guess I don't I guess I just won't be doing any work for you. People are people and they are silly, I guess is my bottom line rule. People are silly. Not worth getting upset about. Just try to do your own stuff your own way with integrity and belief in yourself. There may be 4 people who would be willing to pay you $50 to paint a miniature, and only one person is willing to pay you $200 to paint a miniature. But just that one person of $200 has made you as much money as the other 4. So it's just it's perspective. All right, I need to shade the kind of this vertical part of the hat here. See this ridge here, it needs to have a darker shadow. It's definitely perpendicular to the light. It's hard to do dark shadows on feathers because you normally don't get them. Back in the old days, I did that, D. Clearman, a lot, and this is part of what grew the hatred of commissions within me. And it pretty much taught me, it didn't teach me to ask for more, it taught me to say no more. Because if this is going to be such a pain in the butt project that I'm going to have to spend a ton of time and have to charge a ton of money, I honestly would probably be happier just saying no. I'm not really in the mood to do a commission that's going to suck up a ton of my time and effort. It would have to be something so cool for me to do it. But even so, I'd rather be doing my own work. I mean, you get to the point where you kind of have a price tag in your head on like what you're willing to deal with. And yeah, I mean, because the first piece of advice anybody's going to give you as a good painter, all right, as like me or Jennifer Haley or Marika, is, well, you need to up your prices more. Just up your prices more and then you'll have less work because fewer people will take you up on it. You quickly learn, if you are me or a Jennifer Haley or Marika Reimer, that this is not true. You will just end up with the same amount of work and you will make more money for it, but you would still rather not be doing that work. You'd rather be doing your own. So there comes a point where you could charge $450 for a figure and you would get it, but you'd still rather not be doing commissions. So it taught me not to raise my prices. It taught me to say no more, which is also an excellent talent to develop as a freelance artist, the ability to say no, whether you are a writer or a painter or in anything else, a weaver, a baker, a whatever. Well, then you've learned something, right, Francis? Those people then become on your, I will no longer clean your house unless you give me, cash for it. And the reason is because blah. There are some times, and I may be unfashionable in this. I know that the fashionable and acceptable way to deal with such friendships is to try to keep them and just, whatever. But there are some people who I feel have taken advantage enough that I will just cut them out of my life. Like, so I've shaded this pretty heavily, guys, you can see. And mostly I'm using pretty thin paint so that it kind of falls into the cracks, and see the texture that picked up, because it was really kind of a wash. But I am not afraid to cut people free if I feel like they just take advantage. Yeah, toxic people. I don't need those people. You know what? You get those people out of your life, and you find new people who are cooler. I mean, especially in the mini painting community, right? Because we support each other. We all get it, right? We're having this discussion because we all get it. We all understand. We've all been in this situation in one way or another, whether it's with, cleaning somebody's house to be good, to be nice to them, or doing a commission for free because they're your friend, or whatever. Just value yourselves. That's what it comes down to. Just value yourselves. So I'm going to take some of this creamy ivory and start hitting the individual quills. Once again, a lot like I do hair, I only start picking up textures once I'm getting to the highlight layer. Prior to that, I was painting this whole thing as if it was just a mass of cloth, this whole feather. I was not concentrating on bringing out the texture in the feather. But now that I'm starting highlights, I will begin doing that. And also touching up any shading that got out of hand. Hey, New Code, thank you for the Prime. Ooh, annual. It's your, 13 months, but it's your annual anniversary. 12-month streak. Oh, I like Dice Nest. That Dice Nest is a nice, way to put it. Yes, that's the way to do it, Suru. I completely agree with you. If you're going to do it as a gift, it must be a gift. You must offer it knowing you will get nothing in return, and you offer it because it's needed and you feel good about it, right? And then everybody can feel good about it at that point. I agree. It's like I used to do artwork. I've done a couple pieces of artwork for friends of mine in the dog world who lost their puppy or their beloved older dog. And I did colored pencil portraits of the dogs in question because I knew them, and I did them for free. And they were presented as gifts, and I did not feel bad at all about not charging for those because I chose to do it. I wanted to do it. It was a commemoration, and I absolutely knew that I wanted it to be free, and that was the spirit I did it in. So I have done that with artwork, not with miniatures, but with other artwork. I also did somewhat treat it as, now this can be dangerous, so don't try this at home, kids, at least not too often. But I also treated it as a valuable experience because I was trying to get back into colored pencil, and so these pieces also let me practice, and they were also useful as being the gift that I had wanted to give the person. So right, exactly. Yeah, right, Francis. Well, and then you've learned a lesson. Yeah, exactly. And it's not a fun lesson, and you really wish people wouldn't do it, but it is how people are. And sometimes, you know what? If it's a good friend, I'll give them credit because there is always the person who is very generous until they themselves are on the rocks, and then they get very, very tight-fisted. And that's not necessarily them taking advantage of you. It's a shift in perspective where they've suddenly realized that they just can't afford to do things for free. Right? And so then it's just to kind of watch to see if the behavior is consistent, I guess, or see if this is their new normal. So it depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the circumstances. Yeah. It is awkward, Inara. What I did is I developed a friend rate, which is is a significant discount off my regular rate, but not a crazy discount, because I still need to make enough for my time, or I wouldn't feel good about it. Like, I need to feel good about what I'm doing, and with my busy life with so many demands on my time, I need to feel good about something if I'm devoting an amount of time to it. So it's kind of like the stuff I sell on Patreon. When I sell a model on Patreon, which actually I'm going to be having 1 or 2 of those up on Patreon soon for my $10 and up buyers. They get first dibs, but Dragon Guy is going to be one of them. I usually set these prices low, and I don't mind it because, for one thing, if I've already used it in Patreon levels, then I got that value out of it. And for another, I want to keep it accessible, because what I'm trying to give people on my Patreon is a way to collect, well-painted models so that they have them for their own reference, which can be a key part of making your painting better. And then for the third thing, it's a discount because you're my patrons. So that's an example of of me charging less for a service for multiple reasons that are valid to me and that I feel good about. So, mates rates in the UK, yeah. Yeah, my normal friend rate is about 20% off of my standard. So it's a significant discount off of my normal rate, but I still get paid enough that I feel like I'm not getting taken advantage of. That's important to me. And honestly, if a painter is commissioning me because they want an example of my work, they want decent work anyway, and they understand the price of the work. So, all right, so there's the shading on the scabbard, which makes it look a lot less stark back there. Right, Monkey Ninja. See, that's like where my boyfriend David is, right? David makes enough per hour working his day job that nobody would ever pay him that much per hour to paint miniatures. And so he's just like, nope, I'd rather work on my own stuff. He doesn't do commissions. Every once in a while he'll do a miniature for a company because he likes to get the publicity. But he has absolutely no need to do commissions, nor would he ever be able to charge enough in his mind to make it worthwhile to work on somebody else's project. Right. You'll run into it, though. That's the problem, Francis, is when you help a lot, is they will come to expect it. So I help selectively. I help very, very selectively. And I've had to have a good sharp talking to a couple times in my life when I sit myself down and talk to myself, where I have friends who need financial help, right? And I'm like, well, I'm in a pretty good situation. I could. But then I have to question, is that really what will help them, right? Is my help really what will help them? Or do they need to maybe, get on their own feet? It's a hard thing sometimes. No matter what sort of help you're giving, you always wonder, is it just going to swallow into the void, or will it actually help, right? It's a hard call. If I have a friend who starts a GoFundMe, I will usually toss an amount in, but I won't toss a huge amount in. You don't like painting for others because then somebody else has to like it. Yeah, that's exactly it, Daffodil. That's the other downside of working for commission, right? Is that you also have to get it approved. And that's especially true if you're painting for a company. All right, so putting a little bit more texture on there. I've got a little bit of a delineation line here because I ended my my highlight brush stroke here right where the fade was starting. In this case, I can take my highlight brush stroke down just a little bit more to disrupt that line that I've got going on. I have to go out. Oh, hey, it is. Yeah, it's 11:06. All right, I have to go out Thanksgiving grocery shopping after this because David and I decided not to travel because it's just crazy out there right now, and I decided not to be part of the problem. So we're gonna stay home for Thanksgiving. So we emergency ordered a turkey, and I've got to pick up a bunch of stuff at the store today. Are you guys staying home for Thanksgiving, or are you traveling? For those of you in America. Yeah, she's fun. She's a really nice model. I'm really liking how this warm cream is turning out, like with that coffee caramel color shading. I really like it. It warms her up. She started out looking so cold with the purple and the blue and the icy violet. She started looking so cold, but then now this cream color is just staying home, staying home. Good. Staying home and painting. Staying home and playing WoW. Staying home and cooking in my case, and maybe do some baking. You wouldn't kill for one, or you would have gotten one. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, good. Well, we'll all be at home and cozy in our Thanksgiving. That's good. There is something to be said for a stay-at-home holiday. I mean, even in the middle of COVID, where we've all gotten sick of staying at home, it's still nice to... We're not doing any streams, Justin told me, on Thursday or Friday. So I'll have a few days off, too, and that is nice. I can get a bunch of stuff done. Need to do a bunch of stuff for the Patreon. Because I've been working so hard on my writing for NaNoWriMo that... and it's going well. It's a lot. It's gotten hard. It's gotten really hard because I'm into the book that I'm rewriting now, and it's the first book that was just like the final edit. That's so easy, relatively speaking. Like you could, bust through a chapter doing a final edit in like 20 minutes, half an hour, easy. You're still reading it, but you don't have to stop and really deconstruct it and put it back together. But when you're doing a rewrite, you do have to stop and read every bit and make sure. And I'm doing the quill down the middle, if you'll see what I'm doing there. Little highlight on that quill. But then you have to stop and rewrite entire sections. And you've got to transpose paragraphs, and you've got to, correct details from a previous, etc. And yeah, so my book is going well, but it's gotten rough now. A lot harder. So I'm trying to catch up. November is always that month that half of my life goes to writing. Alrighty, so we've got that quill highlighted on there. I probably will come back with a pure white highlight. Just looking at this, it looks very light on camera, but it's actually just a step down from what you guys see. So I think I do need a pure white highlight on my cream once I've got it all blocked in. I almost have it all blocked in at this point. Doing a lot of painting. Good. Yeah, I cut my own hair. I have for a while, so my mom kind of taught me how to do it. It means I'm never chic, but I'm presentable. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, Francis, big time. Yeah, avoid it. David gets scruffy too, and I laugh. I like his hair longer, but he's just like, arg. Yeah. Yeah, we've been cooking a lot. I mean, David started cooking a lot more when I moved in because I cook a lot. And so he's also taken up some of the cooking duties, especially during the week when I'm usually really tired because I've been busting my butt all day. We actually are great. We're set up great. We have 2 days of leftovers in the fridge. So Monday and Tuesday are taken care of. And then we have a pork tenderloin to do on Thursday. And he normally does that one on the grill. So it's very little work for me, which is fantastic because I'm going to end up cooking Thanksgiving for almost all of it. Although he'll sous chef for me, so that's nice. But yeah, so my next 3 days are to be spent avoiding cooking as much as possible so that I have lots of energy for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I know, Twisted on my. That's why I just gave up. I just started. Well, when I went on my special diet stuff, then I pretty much had to learn to cook better than I had previously. So yeah, I don't like pre-made meals these days. In fact, there are some stuff we won't even eat outside of the house anymore. Like we've given up going to Mexican restaurants. They always have hidden tomatoes, so I'm always in danger of having a reaction. And in addition, like we make better Mexican food here at home than we ever find in a restaurant. Our fajitas rock. Our fish tacos are amazing. So it's like I'd rather, if I want Mexican, I'm gonna stay home and make it because it's gonna be better than anything I can get out there or in a bag at the supermarket or something, you know? Gonna do a little bit of shading here at the end. Oh, got a little bit extra shadow too much there. Yeah, so when you come to this point where you're working with a light color and you can see all your details, but you feel like it's really not enough punch, that's when you do reach for the pure white and you do a highlight on that. Oh yeah, Asian food can be really cheap, Everly, and I agree. That's a great call too. And it's better than most of the Asian restaurants because the vegetables are actually fresher and not, haven't been cooked to within an inch of their life. And so yeah, totally. And I make a pretty awesome ribeye, so steak also is something that we just stay in when we want to make it. And a lot cheaper for me to make it than to go to a restaurant for it. So yeah, we definitely have a lot of things that it's like we only go out to really nice restaurants now and we order things that we don't ever make at home. Which is nice because then sometimes I get ideas for recipes, right? So. Oh, Peruvian cooking, cool. I've been on a Hawaiian Indonesian cooking kick. I have a couple of cookbooks with a lot of. I was in a tropical mood, so I went that way. Also, I was sad because we were supposed to go to Hawaii this fall, and of course, it got canceled. So. I was missing the tropical foods. And of course, that's a lot of Asian influence there too. So a lot of stuff I've been making is more Japanese or Chinese. Alrighty. That's pretty good. So we've got a nice shade. I've got our cream. But you see what I mean, guys? Where even though it's a really light color, even though it's an off-white technically, putting darker shadows on it really makes a huge difference for how it looks. But you keep enough of the cream color so that it still reads as cream. You still need to keep a lot of it, the cream color. And then I will go in with pure white and do just little tiny touches to really bring out details. And especially up here on the feather quills, just little touch of details to really bring out these little quills where it's a harder to see the little separation between those lines, things like that. Oh yeah, awesome. 2020 has taught you to mix drinks at home. Awesome. I only mix drink. Well, I like mojitos and I like whiskey old fashions, but both of those are very easy to mix. I used to mix drinks a lot in college and post-college because I would go out and have a poker night with friends. And that was when we learned how to make a decent pina colada out of fresh pineapple and stuff and coconut cream. And learned how to mix a bunch of different things, but all right. But yeah, I really love how this cream is looking. It's just so warm. It's so nice. I like it a lot. Hope you guys are enjoying her. I didn't quite get to using the saddle brown to block in the rest of the leather today, but she's progressing for sure. I think she's looking great. I'm very happy with her. So we got to get some gold in. We got to get more of that leather in. Ended up doing a lot of cloth today. Oh, wow. Craig has a cake of alcohol dispenser. Yikes. Well, I guess it was inevitable, right? I use a lot of flavored sparkling waters and use those Francis, to create flavor combos with, like, you know, you could add some fruit juices or some other muddled herbs or some whatever, right? Yeah, JS. It's just pretty much you need more contrast. You can't just have the flat white or cream. It just doesn't work very well. But here, now we finally have a sense of volume and of shapes and things like that. So I think it's working great. Now remember, guys, color-wise, what we're doing. Let's just wrap on color theory here. All right, this will be our final little bit. So on our color wheel, I'm going to go back to what we talked about at the very beginning when we started these. I'm going to grab my Icy Violet and my Eldritch Purple, which is around here somewhere. Here it is. So we're looking at colors. And we're specifically looking at split complementaries, right? So here's our mini. So she's got, remember, she's got kind of a reddish purple, which is Eldritch Purple. It's kind of halfway between violet and reddish purple. And then she's got a very pale blue violet, which is like right here, this same color at the top right there. And so we've got these two colors that we're using together, these two. So the only way, one way to look at those, if you're using the color wheel, is if you look at your different shapes that can draw relationships. There is a triangle that touches both of these colors. It's the split complementary one. So blue, the one corner there touching the red violet, and one corner there touching the blue violet. So then follow your triangle to the other side, and what have we got? We hit yellow. And what is cream? Cream is yellow. It's a yellow with a little tiny bit of orange in it, but it's close enough. And so what we've done here is we've essentially created a split complementary color scheme. We could also have gone with the tetrad. See this one? That's the long rectangle. So if we move the tetrad's corners to be our blue violet and red violet, you get that. There we go. Then we're a little bit even more so, and we even have room to put a pale green on here somewhere. So if we're doing a tetrad, then our opposing colors are yellow, orange, and yellow, green. So if we went a little bit oranger, we did go a little bit orange with our cream because we shaded it with a little bit of orangey color, right? Right there. So this enables us, if we wanted, we could go with a yellow-green on this model somewhere, and it technically would not clash. That is a color we could use. I would need to look around. Probably it would be Leaf Bud. This color would be okay as an accent color. So if we needed a splash of color, like these little potion vials or something, but I'd have to figure out another place to put it if I did that. Like, I'd have to probably put one of these ribbons up on the hat green. So if we were going to push it to another complementary color, this would be roughly what we use, something like that. All right, boom. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, roughly. We're doing either a split complementary or a tetrad, but I'm saying split complementary, and we're just pushing it a little bit toward the orangey side on our yellow. And you could do that. Like, a cream counts as a yellow because it's a yellowish white. You can see the yellow in it. So that's why this is working so well. And if you want to do this kind of thing, like, even if you're doing, all right, so let's say, even if you're using your complementary colors, say you've got red and green here, right? Red and green. Let's go far out. Let's talk color. As in, like, zoom tool, as far as, like, when I'm painting the mini, it's just my camera, La Tortuga. Obviously I use reading glasses for my magnifications in person. I find they're easy. I don't have to, like, worry on where to keep them. They're on my nose. But my camera actually allows me to get even closer and still stay in focus. Like, I just need to mess around with it. So it's all about the camera, man. Woohoo! Yes, the stream is almost over. So anyway, so if you want to do, like, say you want a complementary color scheme, or you've decided you're going to try one, you can shift it. Instead of going red and green, you could shift it 1 and go red and teal. Just be a little bit off center instead of going straight across. Straight across there, you can just go a little bit off. Shove it off 1 step. Red and teal is still a perfectly awesome color scheme. In fact, David would tell you it's one of his favorites. You know, likewise, if you wanted to do blue and orange, so you've got blue and you've got orange, you could decide instead to do orange and blue violet, and it would work fine. So you can always scooch a bit. You can also do orange and teal. Orange and teal works great. David has recently done a bunch of models in orange and teal, and they look fantastic. So when you use these color wheel schemey things, remember, you can always shove one of them 1 step to one side or the other usually, and you're still going to be fine. You're still going to be in a good place with your color scheme. So hopefully that makes sense. We've done a lot of color theory on this model because it's a difficult color. The icy violet is a difficult color to work with, and choosing colors can be unusual for it. So we've also gone a little bit off the board because we've gone more toward orange a little bit with this. The saddle brown is more of a reddish leather color, and browns tend to be oranges. So we're kind of messing around with that, but. When you've got everything else working in harmony, you can often go with an off neutral that may not make quite sense, but as long as you repeat it over the course of the model, the rest of it is going together so well, you're going to be fine. So that's how you push the color wheel. Like, that's why I say, learn the rules, but then learn that you can push them. If you've got a harmonious model and you want to use an off brown for a leather color, you should be fine, even though that leather color may be not matching the rest of the scheme very well. It's probably still going to be okay as long as everything else is working well together. Thank you, Nikita. But yeah, I think we've come along quite well on her, and I need to block in the rest of that icy violet on their sash.
I think she looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean she's getting there. It's definitely an unusual color scheme, which I kind of wanted to do something not standard for the pirates, but I like it. So super. All right, well, Justin, who do we have to raid today? I gotta run to the store. Gotta get Thanksgiving stuff.
We're gonna be raiding Mocha.
Oh, yay, Mocha! We haven't raided Mocha for ages. That's fantastic. Awesome, everybody. I hope you give Mocha our love. Thank you for being tolerant of my Kiri emergency earlier. I hope we made up for it by going a little late. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Have fun, everybody. Have a great Monday.
Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you this afternoon for Miniature Monday.